Hey everyone, welcome to my Silent Hill 2 Classic Any% Hitless guide. This guide is specifically for the Silent Hill 2 Enhanced Edition on PC. While it's very close to the PS2 version overall, there are a few key differences to be aware of, specifically when it comes to hard mode. Most notably, the Eddie boss fight and Twin Pyramid Head encounter behave differently on hard mode for the Enhanced Edition. These fights tend to be more inconsistent on the PC version, making it much harder to execute the reliable strategies. On the other hand, hard mode on the PS2 emulator offers a much more consistent behavior, particularly during those boss fights, which is why it remains the preferred version for runners looking to push hard difficulty. So what does this mean for you as a runner? If you're planning a hard mode run, it's best to stick with the PS2 emulator for the consistent boss fights. But if you're running on normal difficulty, the PC Enhanced Edition works great. It runs smooth, it's visually improved, and it's what we'll be using in today's guide. There's a Silent Hill 2 no-hit tool that's available. You can find the download link in the video description below. This tool displays James's health bar along with other helpful information like your total saves, kills, and item pickups. I highly recommend using this, as it not only makes the verification much easier for our verifiers, but it also enhances your viewer's experience by giving your audience a quick snapshot of your run's progress in real time. In the PC Enhanced Edition settings, there's an option called Speedrun Mode. Enabling this will give you consistent RNG for puzzles throughout the game, as well as for the infamous Roach Room, where bad luck can instantly end your run. If you value your sanity, I would highly recommend turning this on. However, there is a catch. Speedrun mode locks the game to 60 FPS, and while that might sound fine on paper, it actually causes issues near the very end of the game during the any% run. A specific sequence there becomes highly inconsistent at 60 FPS, but runs smoothly at 30 FPS. So how do we get the benefits of speedrun mode and the stability of 30 FPS for the ending? Here's your method. You're going to start the game with speedrun mode enabled. You're going to walk through the intro and create a save at one of the first two save points, either the well or the wooden table. These are both located before the first enemy encounter, making them completely safe to start from per Team Hitless rules. Exit the game, disable speedrun mode, and manually set the FPS back to 30. Launch the game again and load your save. This gives you a save file with the speedrun mode's consistent RNG baked in, while letting you continue your run at 30 FPS for smoother gameplay where it matters most. One final technical note. If you're aiming to run either the dog or the UFO endings before tackling the any%, you'll need to download a completed save file. These endings are only unlocked after multiple full playthroughs, which can be time consuming if you're just getting started. Save yourself hours of setup. I highly recommend downloading a pre-unlocked save and replacing your existing file. This will let you jump straight into the shorter dog or UFO runs without grinding for it, giving you more time to practice and record your actual attempts. Now, with all the technical mumbo jumbo out of the way, let's get started on the run. Okay. So at the start, we want to show our save file so that the verifier can see which level you're on in terms of difficulty for both action and puzzles. You can see I'm starting at the wooden table save point, and I'm going to exit the gate. Down this pathway, we're heading towards the tunnel entrance. Inside is going to be the first enemy of the game. No enemies can spawn before you encounter this guy, so as soon as we defeat him, enemies will spawn across Silent Hill. Don't worry, once you enter, you'll be given a wooden plank, and all you need to do is bonk him a few. Keep in mind he can spit immediately. That's a very unlucky RNG, and in that case, I would... So anyway, we're going to go ahead and run back out. And we're going to head towards the main street of Silent Hill. So at first it could be kind of difficult to tell where you're going, but you'll get the hang of it as you do a few runs. Basically, we're going to take a slight left outside of the road. And then about diagonal to the left, there's going to be a main street that runs down, and we're going to take that street. On the right side of this main street, there's going to be a little alleyway, and we're going to head down the alleyway to grab the apartment key. Keep in mind, there are monsters underneath both vehicles on this road. Here on the left, it's a bug, and then for the van, that's a little farther down, it's a lying figure that will crawl out and hit you. So just be very careful. I like to just hug the right side to avoid the enemies completely, and then grab the key here at the end. Now we're going to make our way back, and we're going to continue down the main street the same way we were. So we're going to take a right out here. That little noise you're hearing is the sound effect that it plays when a bug is near you. So keep that in mind. It's going to be important later. Again, lying figures have spawned in Silent Hill, so keep your eyes open and make sure you don't run into any of them. Go ahead and cross this intersection, and under this overhang, there will be some pistol bullets. We're going to grab those. And then continue again down the street. Now, there's a lying figure under that car right there. Be careful. You just heard him. And we also hear another bug, so just keep your eyes looking at the ground. Make sure you don't run into that bug. And then there's going to be a gate here on the right side that we'll enter with that key we grabbed earlier. So now we're starting the apartment split. Apartments can be a maze, especially if you're new to the game, but I will try to make it as easy. So at first we're going to head upstairs. And this could take a little bit of time. Tank controls are kind of wonky. We're going to turn to the right and run all the way down. Completely ignore this guy. You know, if you get bad RNG, he can spit at you immediately, but it's very unlikely, especially on normal difficulty. Come in and grab the flashlight, then turn around and exit immediately. There's a monster in that room, so you want to be careful and get out fast. Then you'll take a left. Go back down. Or not back down, sorry, back through the door. And then we'll go upstairs. I like to turn to the left immediately and run down this hallway. And it's not the first door, but it is the second door on your left. In here, we're going to turn our flashlight on and we can grab the handgun from the shopping cart. Then we can equip it just to make sure that we don't forget it later. Next, we're going to interact with the item that's on the floor here on the other side of the bar. We're going to trigger a cutscene, and then we're free to leave. We'll head back downstairs. I think I went actually a little too far here. I got a little mixed up, but you want to go into the middle door. I think you'll see me stop myself here. Oh, whoopsies. Yeah, we'll go through the middle door here after interacting with that item upstairs. And then we're going to head down the side hallway that we walked past through. So here to the left, you'll hear this little sound. James will freak out a little bit. Then you'll walk down and take the last door on the right. In here, we're going to grab the key on the shelf. And then we're free to leave. We'll be coming back to this room later, so keep this room in your mind. Walk past the lying figure. And head past that stair set door to the first door on the left. You'll use that key we just grabbed to unlock it. And then we want to search the hole that's located in this bedroom. So the clock key is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to unlock the clock in that room we were just in. So we'll head back over there. And once inside, head into the back room. And we'll use that key to open the clock. Now you'll have to set the time on the clock. You can see what time it is here. And then once that's set correctly, you'll be able to push the clock out of the way. So we'll take that hidden path that was just revealed. walk into the next room, and head out there. So there's a door to your immediate right. You'll take that to take another staircase up. And there's a few bullets there if you want to grab that. Pretty easy pickup. Head straight down this hallway. I like to turn the camera around as soon as I can to make sure I know where that lying figure is. Then we'll again take the left door, the second left door. There's going to be a trigger with the P-head cutscene. You'll grab the key to your right and then leave the door to your left. And immediately right, there's that item that we pushed and it triggered a cutscene for earlier. And then here, item on the floor. I believe it was handgun bullets. So free and easy pickup. Then you're going to run down to the other end of the hallway. Again, another lying figure. Shouldn't really be a big issue. As you can see, he spit there immediately, but you still have time to navigate around him, so try not to worry about the enemies too much. We're going to make our way down to the bottom of the stair set. And down this open door, there's going to be an item that we need to pick up. I believe it's a package of juice cans. And we're going to use this to knock down some trash in the trash chute we were up at just a moment ago. So we'll go outside. And we're going to run down this pathway to the other apartment door that we originally went in when we first entered the apartments. So we're basically back at home base. This is where we started. And we're going to go out this blue door to the courtyard. Now, this area can be kind of difficult when you're first starting out, but the main idea is you want to take the aggro of all three lying figures in this pool. You want to lead them to the edge of the pool so that you have enough space to run down, grab the item from the middle, and get out without getting hit. So you can see that I'm leading them over. I want to make sure, you know, that we have all three. Sometimes that guy can get stuck towards the back, and that really sucks. So you kind of just want to walk back and forth along this gate until you get all three of them kind of piled up together. So you can see that guy's being kind of tricky on the back. He's not really scooting out for me. So I'm just going to keep going back and forth. And slowly but surely, he does scoot up. Just take a little bit of time. So if you get really bad RNG like I'm getting here, you just got to be patient with it. You just want it to be as safe as possible because ultimately we're trying to run to that baby carriage. And as you can see here, I got impatient and I just went for it. But if you have enough space, you can grab that item, run back out, and get out of the pool area without getting hit. So then we're going to take the other door, not the door that we came from, but another door here in the courtyard, and turn to the right immediately. And be very careful, there's two lying figures here. Trigger that door immediately to your left. And then in here, we can pick up some handgun bullets. And we'll also trigger a cutscene with our pal. So after the cutscene's over, we'll run back out, return to that courtyard that we were just in, and we'll go back into the apartments. So now we'll go upstairs and we can use that canned juice that we grabbed earlier. So we'll go in and immediately to the right, you'll see an open trash chute. That's where you'll place that canned juice. And that's going to knock items out of the trash chute. So we're going to head outside of the apartments, go grab the item that was freed from that trash chute. Spoiler alert, it is a coin. So we need to use a few coins to unlock a puzzle, which will be coming up shortly. So once you grab it, we'll head back inside, and we're going to go upstairs. turn to the left, and this is what I like to think of as the second half of the apartments. Once you trigger this, it'll trigger a cutscene where James kind of has this moment and he transfers into another apartment building. So I like to think of this, like I said, as the second half of the apartments. So you'll come out and you'll go immediately to your right. You're going to take the door to the left that has the exit sign above it and then head downstairs. Be very careful in this hallway. You want to hug a tight left, run down, and hit the first door on your left. Now this is where we're going to use those coins that I was talking about. Or well, I should say, after this cutscene. We'll use the coins here in just a minute. You have to trigger this cutscene. I forget her name, Angelica or Angela or something like that. You trigger that with her, come out to the right, dodge this bug, and then the first door on your left, this is where we'll use. Sorry for slipping up. So I'm examining the knife here to kind of trigger a certain ending. Well, if you look into this game a little bit, you'll know that there's 3 different endings you can trigger, and it's dependent on your actions throughout the game. I'll put a link to another video in the description where it kind of breaks down how those actions add up and how you can ultimately achieve the ending. So anyway, we're gonna put those coins in. We're gonna grab the item, head back out. Immediately to your left, you'll hit the blue exit door, and we'll head back upstairs. So here, we'll go to the left. First door on the left has a little note on it, and this is the Whispering Room. If you're unfamiliar, this is a pretty legendary Silent Hill 2 room. Grab some extra bullets here. I would definitely recommend that. And we'll need that apartment key right there on the... Head back out once you grab those items. And when you come back out, we're going to go to the left. So walk slowly to bait that guy's attack, and then trigger the door. You want to make sure you have your flashlight on. So this is the P-Head boss fights. And I want to just take a moment to talk about what you need. So when you start, you want to make sure that you have your pistol equipped. And the strategy is basically you're going to unload your bullets, reload, unload again, move positions, and then repeat. Let's walk through. You can see I shot my first 10 bullets. That's my first clip. I'm going to go ahead, go into my inventory and reload. Do another one. Okay, so we've finished our 2 cycle, and now we're going to get ready to position ourselves. Now keep in mind when he does this little half swing, you can get hit by that if you start running too soon, so be careful. See how I let that sword kind of go up, I reload my weapon, and now I run by him. So we're going to position ourselves in the other corner, and then we're going to repeat. Again, we're going to reload, and then after the 4th clip, the fight should be over. So once you hear that siren, you've completed the fight. If you hit every single bullet, you should have a couple extra. And I would recommend letting him walk down the stair set in front of you. Don't get too close to him before he goes down, because I have had him turn around and hit me. So make sure he goes down the stair set and he has a good chunk of space between you and him, so you don't get hit at the end of this fight. Next, we'll be going to hospital. So you'll hit the door at the bottom of this stair set and we'll begin our journey over there. This next area is a bit of a walk. So no real threats here, it's just going to be kind of a foggy area, and we're going to run down the alleyway to trigger a shortcut scene. Once we're past that, we can keep heading down, and we'll make our way to a park that's down here. And one of the most famous characters in the game will be there waiting for us. In case this is your first time playing, no spoilers, but it's coming. You've been warned. Over here on the right, you can grab some extra handgun bullets.
Mary?
Alright, so we grabbed Mary, and she's going to follow us for this next segment. We'll take a left up the stairs, and this is going to be just one big walking section. So just kind of bear with me as we go along. Might even be worth speeding up the speed here 2 times or something. So actually, I should probably note, just in case you're doing the dog ending, this area I was crossing over to right here, right in here, there's a doghouse, and you can grab the dog key, I think it is, from the doghouse over here. If you're doing the 80%, don't even worry about it. So I like to walk along the right side here, and then at a specific time, I take a left turn. So I think I look at the little sewer grates on the floor, and after the third one, after that light pole, I take a left and grab this off the car. The reason is there's a few enemies walking about, and I want to space them all so that Maria does not get hit. The launch of this building, couple iconic cutscenes. We'll take the first door on the left.
You're looking for? What's her name? Mary?
And after a short chat with our pal Eddie, we are heading back out. So walk along the backside of the building here. And we're going to take this gate, head on down the alleyway, and enter this nearby building. Pretty cool cutscene there if you haven't seen it. Upstairs, door on the right. And there is a med kit here. I would pick this up because there is force damage later in the run. And you'll want to heal yourself so that James isn't slower in movement. So anyway, when we come out, we're going to take a right onto the street. More walking. This section is a little bit boring, but we're almost there. There we go. Hospital. So this is kind of a maze, but stick with me. First door right in front of you. Walk around and into this other door to grab our first item here. Item is very important. Head back out. And we're going to head down this other hallway. Take a right and go into the stairwell. So we're going upstairs. Out the second floor. But the third. So once here, cross immediately and enter in the keypad 7335, I believe. Or 7. I think I got that correct. Double check me. Just because I'm tired, but you'll go into this room and you'll check with Maria and grab the key by her. She's going to take a little nappers and she leaves us alone. We'll come back out the way we came, get back into the stairwell, and head downstairs. So again, we're crossing. No keypad this time. Handgun bullets immediately in front of you. And second door on your left. In here, there's a couple pickups, a key, and some handgun bullets. Come back out. Blue striped door. There is another important item here. So, when you come back out the double door, there's a few nurses here. I like to wait patiently to let them come to me. Make sure you stomp them after you shoot them, otherwise they will not die. And then make your way down this hallway. So, last door on the left. Going to be a little bent needle here. And then there's also a shotgun pickup. So directly across the hall, we're also going to inspect this lab coat for an important item. Little examination key. So sometimes these guys will reanimate anyway, just be careful. I just hit the door immediately, but he was there around the corner. So head back down to first floor. And then we're going to use that key we just grabbed on the examination room. Through the other door. There's a few bullets here in the sink. Through another door. I know it's kind of a maze here. Stick with me. Right. And then back into the stairwell. So this time, we're going up. But we're going all the way up. So we're going to the roof this time. And what you're going to do is walk straight, turn left. Well, I think I got kind of lost, but you need to go over here to trigger a short cutscene with P-Head. And then after that, you can see I was in the red there. So it's force damaged for that cutscene. It does not count as a hit or damage. But just heal yourself so you're not slower or anything like that. And then in this room behind where you spawn, there's another code that we need for later. Exit this room, hit the double door, and then head down the hall. So a couple more nurses down here. Again, or not nurses, there's one nurse and then there's one mannequin. So again, make sure you stomp them. You don't want them to get back up or hit you while they're down. That goes for all of them. And then we're going to take the door here on the left. And this is where all the items and codes that we've been grabbing are going to come into handy. So I'm going to go ahead and use all my keys and type in the codes. And in there, should get a strand of hair. So we're going to combine the hair with the bent needle later, but we're going to exit, head down the hall, and then this white door on the left is where we're going to combine that stuff. So combine them, use them, and then you'll get an elevator key. So the elevator is right here in the hallway. And our first objective is to go to floor 1. Head to the left, and then in C3, going to be handgun bullets, and I believe there's another pickup. Shotgun bullets. Okay. So you're going to see I put on my shotgun right here, and I would highly recommend you do the same. Reason being because we're about to do the Flesh Lips boss fight. So in this next room, there's a short cutscene with the little girl, and I believe I skip it right away. So these are the Flesh Lips. This boss fight, how to explain this? So basically what we're going to do is we're going to run around until we have a decent amount of space from both of them. And then we're going to pump them with our shotgun. You're going to see kind of how this plays out right now. So I immediately shot one. And you'll see that there's kind of like a recoil they do, where they're not able to hit you while that animation plays. You can use that to your advantage. So I get into the corner, pop him again. He gets a little too close, so I move around. And again, I'm just going to keep moving around. I got a little bit of space here, so I'm going to pop him. And I got a little risky with it. Moved right when he went to go hit. And then we're going to reload the shotgun. If you can count while you're under pressure, then feel free to use all 6 of your shots before I reload. But it's totally up to you. If they're right next to each other, sometimes you can hit both of them with one shotgun shell, which is really cool. And important to note, once they're defeated, they'll kick their legs up like this, and they'll just remain in the same spot. That's your cue that they're done. So it gets a little easier once the first one goes down, because then it's basically a one-on-one. And you want to kill this guy fast, because he has a backup guy that's going to come down. So you can see I'm being more aggressive here, hitting him with a couple shells, and then right now, we're going to reload and wait for that final guy to come down. So there he is coming down from the wall. And trying to get the correct space here. As you can see, there's one guy in the way from my shotgun shell, so it's not hitting him. Now he's moved and I'm able to hit him again. So it can be kind of tricky, just getting used to the spacing in this room. It's very tight. But definitely create a save file and practice it a little bit. Alright, so once the cutscene plays, you know you've beat the boss, and then we're ready to continue. So, important to note, if you're doing the UFO ending, I believe this is one of the spots that you use the blue gem, right here in this room, because this is like an outdoor area, so there's a short cutscene that'll play. I'll try and call out all the other spots as well, as if I remember them. But it's been a little while. It's been about a year since I've run this game, so. So anyway, we're coming out, hitting the elevator. Second floor. Then there's going to be some enemies. So make sure again we stomp them. Just take your time here. You know, there's no reason to rush. Then I like to go back down and make sure I kill this one. In the past, when I've left this one alive, it's hit me, you know, right when I get out of the elevator, or from right when I enter from one of the doors. So anyway, we're gonna enter this door. Important items in this little hole in the wall. Couple pickups. And we're almost through the maze. I apologize. I know this is a huge kind of mix-up, especially when you first start. So, elevator. Third floor. If you haven't already, I would definitely get a set of notes together. Definitely help you. But when you come out again, there's more enemies. Kick them. Make sure they're dead. You'll be coming back down this hallway. Double door, left side at the end. You can cross immediately. If you're fast enough, you can get into the shaft here before the enemy hits you. And then we're going all the way down. So this is one of the toughest. Or well, actually I'm getting a little ahead of myself. We're not to the tough part yet. Not quite yet. You're gonna get Maria here, and then we go down to grab an item off the floor. So this is a copper ring. We need, I believe, one more ring to complete a door, and that's where we're going to get to the difficult part I'm mentioning. So the other ring we need is in a fridge, and that's our next objective. So back here, when you come up, there's some shotgun shells as well if you want them. All the way back up the stairs. And we're crossing immediately. And we're coming back down this hallway. So you can see this nurse has reanimated. Oh, two of them have, so. Gonna be slow about creeping up. Again, just take your time. There's really no reason to rush. They don't run at you or anything like that. There's no sprint animation. So slow and methodical, and you'll get it. So take the elevator. Second floor, we're almost done. We're almost done. Left. I started slow there just in case any of the nurses reanimated. And then we're hitting the door at the end. So there's a little fridge here that we need to pull open. I believe there's a cutscene that I skip. And then that's where you get your other ring. So now that we have both, we're going back to the elevator and then heading upstairs to put on both those rings. So immediately to your left is that door, and you can combine both rings and use it at the same time. And this will open the door for you. And this is where the difficult part is. So if you're going for damageless, this part is a little bit more comfy, as you can just kind of run through the hallways and get away from the P-head that's about to chase you. But if you're doing hitless, then you can't let Maria get hit. So there's a specific strategy that I use, and I will explain to you now. So I get into this corner, and I back up. You can see Maria kind of positions herself a few steps behind me. So I'll back up, and I get behind her, and I push her forward. So you just kind of bump into her, and she just steps forward. And then when she's in the corner, I face the wall, and I pull out that steel pipe that we grabbed from the car hood earlier in the run. So I'm going to back up to trigger the P-head. You'll hear his like breath or, sound effect or whatever come down the hallway. That's when you know he's spawned in. And you're going to bonk him over and over again. I know this looks silly, but when the P-head takes damage, he doesn't swing his weapon to hurt either you or Maria. So the trick here is just to keep bonking him and to kind of pull Maria down the hallway with you as you bonk him. So she can get kind of caught in the corners sometimes, so just be kind of careful. What I like to do when she gets caught in that deep corner like that is I'll bonk him a couple times and pull back really far so that she's kind of pulled towards me. And then I'll continue to bonk him as we go down. So just rinse and repeat. You want to make sure that you don't hit Maria yourself. And just slow and methodical here. Don't, overthink it too much. Just bonk the funny hat with the stick. And keep moving. There used to be a faster but way more difficult strategy for this involving a pistol. I would definitely recommend looking at some other Silent Hill runs if you're interested in something a little faster, but I would definitely recommend this one over that for consistency and just easiness. This is pretty easy to pull off. So definitely can take a little while, and I'll just be quiet, I guess, while we go through this, because there's really not too much left to explain. So this is the final hallway. And at a certain point, you can kind of just turn around and make a run for it. But you don't want to go too early, as obviously Maria will get hit, but as you practice this a little bit, you'll get an idea of where and when to kind of start running. So this is kind of your cue. You're getting close when that camera spins around, because it's spinning around to give you a view of the elevator doorway at the end of the hallway there. So this is about the point where I would say you're probably good to run for it. So I think I bonk him a few times, and then I just run, yeah. So once the cutscene plays, you're safe, and finally, we're going to make our way out of here. So take a left, last door on the right. We're going to interact with this little map here, and then we're on our way out to the City Night Split, which is basically a big walking section in the middle of the night. And it can definitely be confusing, so would recommend taking notes on this next part. But we're going to exit this room and then exit the hospital and start walking. So we'll take a right, and then it's going to be really dark, so I'd put your flashlight on. I turn it off when I know there's enemies coming up, and there's a few set spawns on this road, so you'll know when that is. Once you get used to the nighttime, like I am in this run, you can just kind of run around with the light off, just so you don't have to worry about enemies at all. But we'll take a left down that first street. And just try and use landmarks to kind of remember your path. When you're first learning this game, it can be super confusing just running around at night, so kind of hug the right side of the street. Just keep on chugging. Take a right at the first major street. There's an enemy on the other side of that car, so I like to go on the right side and then take a left down that first street. So in this tunnel, there is an interaction with two enemies. I don't even know what they're called, really. But on 60 FPS, this can be really inconsistent, as these enemies are faster. On 30 FPS, you can do the same thing pretty much every time, which is just run as fast as you can past that first one. And then pretty much the same thing with the second set, but their positions can change depending on how long it took you to get down the tunnel. And I guess kind of the RNG of the situation, but they don't move too fast, so you can just kind of turn your flashlight on and pay attention to where they are and just dodge them. But anyway, there's a few pickups on the side of the road after you come out. And we're going to come down. So we'll take kind of a diagonal left to cut through this. There's some rifle shells right here next to this restaurant. Definitely pick those up. You want as many rifle shells as you can get for the Twin Pyramid Head boss fight later. Continue down that same road. Take a left. And there's going to be a little house on the left here that has some items. And we want to grab that wrench specifically. So continue down the street, hook in the left. Another left. There are some handgun bullets there for you. This enemy can be quite quick sometimes, so just be careful. Try and space him. we're just pretty much running down this street. So this might look familiar to you. This is the main street from earlier in the game when we were going to the apartments. The apartments would be here on the right side right now. Little door at the end. Taking a right. So kind of a diagonal. We need to take an entrance that's on the left side, but I also like to hug the left to avoid those two enemies. We should see an entrance of sorts. Come up right here. Take a right, and then there's like a parking garage that's going to come up, and we're going to head through that. Or I shouldn't even say parking garage. A parking lot and an overhang. And then we're going to be back in that park that we were in with Maria earlier. And we're going to head down the stairs and take an immediate right here. And left again. There's going to be a little statue. And we're going to go behind it to dig up this little spot here. And you can use that wrench that we grabbed from the house earlier to open this and grab a key. So now that we have the key, we'll come out of the park, head back towards that street. And take a right. So the building we're looking for will be all the way at the end of this street on the right-hand side. There's going to be several enemies on this road. So this might feel free, but some of the enemies can wander around. So just always be aware when you're running down here. You could definitely get hit. I've had a run end here when I was kind of just on autopilot. It can definitely be frustrating. Once you get to the grass area, you know you're kind of out of town now. And it should be coming up not too much longer. A couple sets of enemies here. Then after this billboard, you know you're really close. Or I guess I shouldn't say really close, but you're close. There's two billboards, I guess. Maybe it's the second one I'm remembering, but I just remember always looking for those billboards because you know you're on the right track. So once you see the wooden fence, it's in this parking lot. You're going to walk past the cars, then into this door here to enter the prison. So double doors and then down the comically long tunnel. So prison is kind of a maze a little bit, to be honest. But once you get the hang of it, it feels really good. It's quick to run through. But it can be a little tricky. And there's definitely enemies to always be aware of. And there's definitely one section in specific where I would never let my guard down. So I'll make sure I point that out to you once we get there. Go ahead and hit the door. I turn my light off because I'm going to hit the next door immediately, and there is an enemy right there. Turn left and hit the door at the end of that little hallway. Drop down the pit. So in here, there's a fake door. It's a little bit to James's left. It's like 90 degrees to his left. I like to use the steel pipe and then just kind of whack the wall. You'll hear like a clank when you hit it right. Like that. And the door will be revealed to you. So coming up, some big parts. So through this tunnel, there's going to be some enemies in here, so you want to be fast. Try and run past them. And hit the door. So right here is the roach room. So you have to come in, grab the key, and we're going to put in a battery to this keypad. If you did the steps that I mentioned earlier in the run and you have your speedrun mode save file all set up, you are all set. You're going to do exactly what I do here in the video. But if you don't have it set up, this is where that's going to kind of bite you in the butt, because this keypad solution will be random and the bugs positions will be random. So it's just kind of luck if you get out hitless, whereas if you do the speedrun mode, you'll get out hitless every time. So what I'm going to do is kind of position myself in front of the keypad. I kind of overthink this when I do it, but you just want to be right in front of the keypad so that when you put the battery in, you can immediately touch it and put in the code. So put in the battery, and I know it was kind of hard to see there. Let me see if I can stop it on the right frame. So you can see there's bugs all over the wall, and I immediately hit the button to touch the keypad so that I don't get hit by these bugs. So see the code right there, and then as soon as I enter that keypad, I'm turning to my left slightly so that I'm interacting with the door instead of the keypad, and I'm going through the door immediately. And that's how you get out of roach room. So use that key and then go ahead and drop down. Double doors, and then there's going to be enemies in this hallway, so just be careful. Oh, I'm sorry. We have to grab this tablet first before we head out. So to the left, and then there's a door on your right you're hitting. To the left here, there is an enemy almost immediately. I hit him with the shotgun here. And you can't see him because of these camera angles, so be very careful. You want to make sure he's knocked down. Then when he's down, you go up and stomp him. So you know he's full killed. Grab this little tablet, and then you can hear the footsteps of another one coming up behind me. Again, be very careful. These camera angles can make it tough. Reload your shotgun just to be safe. And go ahead and do the same thing here. So we want to make sure he's laying down. So I got really risky there. And stepped up to him before, he was on the ground. So he could have definitely spit on me there. That was kind of just luck that I got away with it. Don't risk it like that. Make sure that he's down on the floor and then stop him. Or if you hit him with enough shells like I did, he'll just die. But ideally, you'll stop him. So anyway, we'll exit and enter this nearby door. And I like to bait this guy down the hallway so that I can go in and grab this without the need to kill him, and then I can get out immediately. So take a left when you come out. There's an item on that little desk there. And then there's another enemy right down here. I like to definitely kill this guy. He can spit on you or attack you when you come back out here, which we will in just a moment. So double doors on the left. Go into, I think it's like the 7th cell on the right. Might be 6th, I don't know. But then you're going to grab this tablet. And you want to touch it a few times to get out. You might think that you're locked in there, but you just keep doing it until it lets you out. So we're going back out. I like to have my shotgun on just in case. And you can see the enemy that I just killed reanimated. And again, he could have spit on me there. That was very lucky. Be very careful when you come out, and then make sure you stomp on him. So hit that left door. And this is where we're going to use all of those tablets that we grabbed at once. So you can combine them all, then use them all at once. So we're almost done with the prison portion now. We're going to grab this little horseshoe that's on the door and then exit to our right. go back down this hallway, and we're hitting the door at the very end. So, important to note, actually, really quick, when you go through this door, I got lucky here, but I have had a few times where an enemy was in here. So when you come in here, just be careful. There could be a lying figure walking around in here, so have your shotgun ready. And then take that door on the right. Cross through. Then you're going to take the door on your immediate left and grab the lighter. Now I put on the pistol because I'm going to go into this room, and I'm going in here to grab the rifle. So if you're doing the dog or the UFO endings, you do not need to go into this room and grab the rifle. The rifle is specifically for the Twin Pyramid Head boss fight towards the end of the game. And the dog and the UFO endings don't require that boss fight. So just keep that in mind. But there is an enemy. I want to make sure we kill him. And once he's down, we can go into the back room where the rifle's located. I think there's a couple ammo pickups here as well. Do you grab all that? And on your way out, be careful because he can reanimate, and he's crawling around right here and actually stands up right in my face. Very scary stuff. So just be aware. Make sure you kick him again, and then make your way out. So we'll continue through the double door here, or double gate, whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to use the 3 items. So the glue, the lighter, and that horseshoe to create kind of a handle for this latch. And then we're going to open up and hop in. So just 180 around, hit the door, hit the next door, jump down again, door again, jump down again. Kind of a maze going on here. And then once you hit the elevator, there's a couple ammo pickups, and then I think a heal is in here as well. Once you hit the elevator, you know that you are done with prison, and now you're going to the Labyrinth. So this area, definitely a maze. Lots of different paths you can go. Try to follow my path closely. I grab a weapon down here known as the Great Knife, and it is very useful for the abstract daddy fight. On normal difficulty, it makes it basically free, as you can stun lock him with it. So would highly recommend following my route and grabbing this weapon for your run. It's also a comically long elevator ride, so just bear with me. Alright. There's a save point on the wall right here. Would definitely recommend making one. So close left, all the way down, take your left, and then a right. And there's going to be a little pathway here on the right that we'll take down. We're going to walk with our flashlight off to the right and then run the rest of the way to get to this little secret chamber. In here is where we're going to grab that great knife, and there's some other pickups. So be careful when you come out. What we're looking for is the Pyramid Head. So if Pyramid Head followed us, we'll hear him coming down, and what we're going to wait for is to see his little head and weapon pass us in this hallway. So let's watch that. So there's also going to be these other enemies too that kind of like hang out below you and try and hit you. Don't worry about them. So as you can see, we did not see Pyramid Head come down. We waited. There was no footsteps, and he did not pass our screen. So we know he did not follow us down. So, but you always want to be aware that he can. Because even when you don't think he's following you, he can. So just take a moment, take like 30 seconds to just stand there and listen. Just wait. And if you know it's clear, then you're good to just run back the way we came. And hit the ladder. So we're going to come back up, take a left, left again, and left again. Down into this right hallway where we're going to go back down. So enemies down here, but we're going to just pass everybody. Oh man, kind of got blocked right there. Be careful. You don't want that to happen, especially if they spit immediately. It is a run under, so be careful. So just to replay that for you, we're turning the head until we see the upside down yellow on our side. And that should open the door at the back of this room back here, which triggers probably the most iconic cutscene in the game. I would definitely recommend watching that if this is, your first time playing the game or if you're unfamiliar. When you come back up, there's going to be a wire cutter here that you can grab. And we're going to have to dodge these enemies again, try and not get spit on. And we're coming back down this little Z hallway towards the left. And then on the left here, there's a blocked entrance, which we'll use the wire cutter to get past. And then head down. So, more enemies. Be very careful. We're going to take a right and head up the ladder. So, right, left, ladder. Then left. There's going to be an enemy down here. So you can see I get my shotgun out. And I'm going to shoot him. And then the goal is to stomp on him immediately. Because sometimes he can kind of swim away from you and it can come back to haunt you later. So try and stomp on him immediately. And a left and an immediate left to this ladder that's right around the corner. So that guy can spit on you, just be careful. And run by right, left around this little gate and then back down. More enemies, run by. And if you're doing hard difficulty, keep in mind these guys are not going to be as passive, so you might have to clear out a lot of these guys. But follow that path, take the ladder up 2 in this hallway, and then we're heading back down. The maze is almost done, I promise. Close left ladder. And then this door is where you want to create a save file, especially if you're practicing. Not on your real runs, obviously, but just for practice. Because this is going to be the Abstract Daddy boss fight. So I like to come down a little bit, and then I believe it's going to be the newspaper here on the floor. Right here. So once you pass this, it'll trigger, the cutscene that's about to happen. So make sure you have the great knife on before you go into the boss fight. So there's the cutscene start, and as soon as you start this boss fight, you want to start swinging your sword, okay? You want to be ready for this. Make sure you're not lazy and slow on this. This has to be immediate if you're going to stunlock him right. So hit him once. He'll drop. You'll hit him again. He'll drop. And then you hit him again. And the fight's over. So that won't work the same way on hard difficulty. Keep that in mind. There's a completely different strat for that that I'm not going to cover in this video. If you're doing hard difficulty, I would definitely recommend doing or checking out a hard run. So we're going to head out and take the door on our right. In this close right door, there's a puzzle that happens here. If you have the speedrun mode save file on, it'll be the same answer every time. So I like to just double check. It was this guy right here, and what you're looking for on the dialog box, just so you don't have to Google it or anything, is the crime of arson. Arson is the correct one that we're looking for right here. So we'll exit and head down the hallway. Gonna be that door on your left. And it's a very similar room, but you'll notice there's no bodies. And we want to pull the noose of the body that was related to arson. So in our case, it was this one. So when you pull the correct one, when you go back down this hallway, for one, there won't be any enemies. If you pull the wrong one, I think there is enemies. And then when you come in here, there will be a key right there for you to grab. So come back down. And we're going to hit the door here at the end of the hallway. And there's going to be a little handcuff that we're going to undo with the keys we just obtained. All right, so heading down. I'll just go ahead and go straight. It's going to be a cutscene, I believe, with Maria. And then we're going to walk our way over towards Eddie's area.
Maria? Maria? Maria, no!
So I'll skip this for you. I think I was just watching it to take a little break on my run. So when you exit, it's like this left. And I'm putting on the steel pipe just in advance because we're going to need it for Eddie. Again, a save file right here. Would definitely recommend it for your practice. You're going to drop down this hole. And at the end of this hallway is going to be the Eddie boss fight. So keep in mind when you interact with that door, you are entering the boss fight. But make sure you have your steel pipe ready. And the strat is that you're going to do overhead whomps on his noggin. Okay? You're going to whomp him several times in a row. So you'll see I entered the door, steel pipe ready. As soon as the cutscene's over, I'm queuing up an overhead attack. Okay? 1, 2, 3. I mean, you can just see it's going to be several in a row here. So I believe that was 9, might have been 10 if I miscounted. But that's the first half of the boss fight, okay? There's a second half that happens, and the second half is harder. So the first part, again, you're just queuing up those heavy attacks. Second, you get into an actual fight in kind of like an open room, whereas the other one was kind of more narrow. So the objective here is to keep this piece of meat between you and Eddie. So Eddie is always going to swing his left fist when he tries to hit you. And if you have the piece of meat between you guys, he will hit the piece of meat and not you. So that's the whole strategy. I like to not move when I first get in, and I'll explain as we go. So I hit him over the head, and then I scoot a little bit to the right. So the reason I'm doing that is that I want to, again, reposition that piece of meat between us so that when he walks up to swing at me, if he does get his punch off, it's going to hit that piece of meat. So he's going to come up, swing, hit him over the head. Reposition, run up, swing, hit him over the head. Reposition, and you're just going to keep doing this over and over. Swing, bonk, reposition. So this will take some practice. Definitely, like I said, make a save file. Practice this a few times. Once you get the hang of this and getting that piece of meat between you guys, it's very consistent. So try not to overthink this too much. When you start running and you get a few good runs and maybe you get here on a distance PB or something, the nerves will definitely be ramping up. But again, this is super consistent, so have faith in the strat and definitely practice it. And if you remember at the beginning of the video, I talked about some technical limitations with the PC emulator. This fight does not work the same way on hard mode. which is why you would need to use the PS2 emulator for hard mode. So Eddie's bonked. He's done for. He's passed out. KO. And we are on our way to the hotel.
Eddie? I killed a human being.
So we'll leave the warehouse through this back door back here. And it's important to note, on this dock down here, if you are doing the UFO ending, this is a spot that you will use the blue gem, okay? So before or after the Flesh Lips fight, we used it there. And then this is the second spot that you'll use it. There's one more spot that I'll point out at the end of the run, just in case you're going for that ending. So you'll get on the boat, and basically the whole thing is you're trying to find the light, the guiding light. You can see it kind of coming into view now, and then you're going to head towards it. So this was definitely very confusing on my first run, as I had no idea what I was doing, and I was totally lost. But yeah, you're looking for that guiding light and just heading right to it. This is kind of a boring section. It is literally me just rowing the boat, so I'm going to just speed this up a little bit for the sake of time. So, yeah. So anyway, a cutscene will play, you'll arrive on the dock, and then this is the start of the hotel split. The hotel is very quick for the dog and UFO endings, but it's a little bit more involved for the 80%. So grab this, the little mermaid thing here, before you head inside, and then we're going to hit the front door. So immediately go down, and over here on the right, grab that item. And we're going to use that later. So come up, and then on the left, there's going to be a door on your right. And then you're going to head in here and grab, I think it's called a fish key. And on your way out, you'll have a little cutscene here. So after this cutscene, when you come back out, there's going to be enemies in the hotel, okay? I shut off my light before I came out. There's a reason for that. Because the enemy coming down the hallway, I think he spots you faster, but there's really no reason to even chance it, right? So just turn off the flashlight, and we're heading for the door that's kind of like diagonal to our character's left, and hitting that immediately. So take the door right here on the right and grab the hotel room key. Upstairs on the right, we'll take the double door. Then we're going to take the first door on the left in that hallway on the left. So we're going to use the fish key here. There's another key in that suitcase. And there's some ammo pickups here if you need it. I definitely like to just grab everything just in case I need it. So when you come out, you'll take the double door that's kind of at the end of the hall. Then we're going to take an immediate right and run down this hallway. So these enemies I think they one-shot James. So, well, anyway, for Hitless, you don't want to get hit at all, right? So the method that we're looking for is we're going to hug the right side of the hallway, and you're going to kind of like pinch yourself between the monster and the wall here, and you're going to push him back. So here's what that looks like. So you can see I'm just pushing, pushing my character and running forward, and slowly I'm pushing the enemies back, and we're going to get into this room right here on the right. So that key we just got from the briefcase is what we're using. Their item there on the desk. And then that thinner that we grabbed from the elevator downstairs, we can use that now. So that'll be the password to the safe on the ground. Or the briefcase, I should say. And then when we come out, keep in mind those enemies are still out there, right? So we want to take a left immediately and head down the hallway. Left immediately, and I'm heading down the hallway. So you saw where that enemy was. If you're not immediate about that, he will grab you. So just be very careful. And hit that double door. So back towards that main room. We're going to head to the left side of the staircase now. And there's a door on the left. So in this elevator, you can't activate any of the buttons until after you unload all of your equipment. So you're going to go in your inventory and put everything on the shelf. And this can be a little scary because you basically, you're unprotected, you have no weapons, and there are enemies in this next part. So it's going to require a little bit of finesse and just being careful, and I'll explain as we go. So I hit the first floor there. And this part's safe right now. We're going to hit this red door at the end of the hall. Then we're going to grab the final music box that we need right here on the shelf. Come back into the safe hallway. And then in this little room on the left, you'll go and open, or well, the safe's already open. You'll grab the items from that safe, which is a videotape, and I believe it's a can opener. So blue door right across the hall, and we're heading down. And now be very careful. So this is where we're going to have the enemies. The trick is, when you spawn in, the enemy's not going to be triggered at all. So you want to kind of face him and creep your way up to bait one of the swings from it. Like that. And then once it's swung, you're safe to run by. So head into the blue door here. I know that camera angle kind of made it hard to see where I was going. Try and show you that one more time. So the camera angle flips around. And I took the left hallway right there. I didn't go straight. I took the left hallway and we're taking the door. So in here, you're grabbing the key here. And remember, there's enemies, so we want to come out, be slow about it. And then on the left, down this hallway, there's another mannequin, okay? We're going to do that same bait and run by. But you can't really see this one because of the camera angle. So we're looking for the shadows on the floor. So I kind of saw that shadow dangling around. I don't know if you saw that, but try and look back if you didn't. And you'll see it swing around, and then you're good to run right by it. Door at the end of the hallway. And then there's a few pickups in here if you want. But we're going to use that little can opener on this thing in the corner to grab one of the little light bulbs. So you have to put the light bulb into this light, or you can unlock the bar door. So now that the light's in, now you can unlock the bar door. And again, we're going to be careful. When you come out of the bar, there's going to be mannequins in this hallway in front of you. So again, walking forward to bait that swing. Make sure you don't get hit. That was very close. Bait the other one, and then you're going to run right by him and head upstairs. So again, this is that hallway with the enemies we were in before. You want to turn left immediately and hit that door immediately. So we have all of our items, but we need to collect them from the shelf that we put them on when we went down the elevator. So we're heading back up, and before there were no enemies in this hallway. right? So just be careful when you come back through here because there are enemies now. Again, you want to bait and run by, bait and run by, and then grab all your items off that shelf. So when you grab all your items and you come back out, those enemies are gone. Okay, so they're just a temporary obstacle. And then you can head down and put in all your music boxes. So if you're doing the dog and UFO endings, your run is about to be over. This is pretty much the ending here. And I'll tell you what you need to do to achieve those endings in just a second. So, cutscene, we'll play a song, honestly, that I love just from playing the game so much, but you'll see that a key comes out, and that's the key we need to get into the hotel stairway upstairs. So through the right door, there's a pathway that's right up here to the right. And then we couldn't get through this gate earlier, but now that we have that key, we're able to get through. And now this is important to note. This is where the run would end for dog and UFO, like I just said a little bit ago. So to the left of this door, a little bit farther down the hall, there's like an observation room. If you have the dog key that we talked about earlier, you can use that to open the door, and that will trigger the dog ending. So that's the end of your game if you're doing the dog run. So if you're doing the UFO ending, I believe you have to watch the tape, and then you're going to use the blue gem in this room. So that would be the ending for UFO, and your run is over. So GG's if you guys are doing one of those two endings. But if you're doing the any percent, then stick around for the rest of the run. So once you watch the tape, it's going to change the hotel. The hotel is going to look different. And we're going to head downstairs through the double door on the character's right. And then this is where those monsters were before. There's no monsters now. Take the last door on the right. And head on down. There's a double door right here. And then on the right side of this hallway down here, there's like a white door that you'll take. Which is like a little elevator down to the basement. So be careful when you go down to the basement. There is an enemy that's going to be waiting for us. So the strategy is you hit the basement, and then I back up into the back of the elevator and get my pistol ready. He's going to crawl up into the elevator. So he didn't immediately. Sometimes he doesn't. You can kind of bait by going forward and back. And there he goes. So I'm going to shoot him. Then I want to make sure I have enough room to stomp him. So I'm shooting, and then I come up and then stomp him. Make sure you full kill that guy. He can definitely be a run ender. So go through the bar. Everything's all flooded now. Head into the back. There's some ammo pickups here. I think before it was just heal pickups, but now there's actual ammo. Which if you feel like you need it, go ahead and grab it. So in this room, there's another crawler. This guy is even more scary in my opinion than the other one, because he comes down quite fast. And I remember he was a little tricky on this run. So let's see what happened here. But he comes down, and you can see my lock-on just, wasn't working. So he comes down, and luckily he turns around and goes back down, and he doesn't actually hit me. But you want to make sure that you lock onto him correctly and nail him as soon as you can. It is very scary when he's swimming around at Mach 5 and could potentially hit you. So here he is. Now I'm shooting him. And then again, we want to make sure we stomp him immediately. So take a left, head down this hallway, and the door on your right at the very end is a cutscene with Angela, I believe her name is. One of the best cutscenes in the game. Definitely recommend watching it, again, if this is your first time playing. So head upstairs. And a little tricky in here, but we're going to take the right hallway, follow it through here. And then in here, this is a very, well, in my opinion, infamous area of the run. So if you were on 60 FPS, this part is extremely inconsistent. I got hit here all the time on 60 FPS. It's not reliable whatsoever. So this is basically the whole reason why if you're doing the any percent, you want to be on 30 FPS, because this strategy works every time on 30 FPS. So I come in and I back up into this corner and I'm waiting for an enemy to appear right here. So here he comes. Once he's appeared, I'm going to run right through the middle of his legs, turn the corner, and run right down the middle through this guy's legs too. And that'll work every time on 30 FPS. So once you're through there, this is the Twin Pyramid Head boss fight. This fight is kind of slow, depending on how you play it. But the main idea is you're going to trigger the fight. Each one will be, on each side of you. You're going to kind of split the middle and then kind of lap around the edge of the room, just luring them around and getting shots in where you can. So you can see I'm kind of turning around and I'm going to follow the edge of the room. Be cautious about this because you want to start with the rifle because it does the most damage. And get shots in where you can. Take your time. There's really no rush. This is very safe. Just space them out along the edge of the room. And wherever you see an opening, just take your shot. The real risk is if you forget the bullet count in your weapon and you end up doing a reload animation right in front of one. Very risky stuff. High likelihood to get hit. So make sure you count your bullets and keep track of how many bullets you have left in your magazine. This fight is definitely one of the scariest ones to do, especially because it's right at the end of the game, right? It's just nerve-wracking. But as you can see, it's very just methodical. As long as you take your time and you space everything correctly, this fight will go the same way every single time. And as you can see there, I think I got 2 shots off. So if you have a big enough gap, you can, multi-shot with the rifle. But again, make sure you're counting your bullets because you'll reload like a fool like I just did. So that was a little too close. You don't want that to happen. Luckily, he didn't swing or anything, but it was definitely a little scary looking. So I don't route in too many rifle pickups. The reason for that is we have plenty of shotgun and pistol ammo at this point. And after this fight, we're going to dump all of our ammo anyway. So we don't really want, a ton of ammo because it's going to take a lot of time to dump it all. So I try to route in just what's needed. So don't worry too much if you run out of rifle bullets, which you inevitably will. definitely would not go for more than 2 shots, though. Unless you have some incredible spacing, it's definitely too risky, in my opinion, to do more than 2 shots. But once they start heading towards the middle here, the fight's over. You're gonna do this little cutscene where they die. And then you're gonna need to grab items from both of them. So I think each one has a different item, and then you plug those items into the door to leave this room. But this is the part where I'm going to shoot all of my ammo. So this game has a sort of failsafe built into it. Basically, if you don't have enough ammo to defeat the final boss by this point in the game, there's a way to defeat her without using any ammo. So basically, if your character has no ammo when you enter the fight, you can just run around in circles and she'll die. And I know that sounds kind of ridiculous and funny at the same time, but that is exactly what happens. So what I'm doing here is just getting rid of all my shotgun shells. I'll get rid of all my pistol shells. Any additional ammo that I have is just going to get dumped here. So this whole section here is just an ammo dump. So I'm going to skip to the end of all of that so you guys don't have to watch that. So once all your weapons are empty, grab your items from these guys. And then, like I said, we're going to plug these into the door. And that's going to allow us to leave. So head down this middle hallway. And then there's going to be a conversation here with Mary. Depending on whether you listen to the conversation or you don't, it can have an effect on your ending. So again, check out the video in the description to see what actions in game affect your ending, so that you know what you're going for when you're playing.
I don't deserve flowers.
So for the ending I got, which was Maria, I'm skipping the conversation and leaving early. And I'm viewing Angela's knife a few times here, which is also something that can affect the ending. But again, more on that in the video in the description. So the final boss fight is just up these stairs. Kind of slow to get up here. And especially when you're at the end of a run like this, you know, your nerves are pumping and it's like, holy cow, let me get up here already. But once you get up here, this is the area we want to be in. And I think I got really nervous here because I didn't want to mess up the ending. So sometimes she can be at the window, and then other times she's in the bed. It depends on the ending that you have achieved. So don't be alarmed if she's over here by the window when you come talk to her. The action that you're about to do will be the same for both. So you'll walk up, and we're going to trigger this cutscene with her. I think I might have paused here and double checked my strategy. So let me go ahead and skip all that so that we can get to the good part. Okay. So I approached her like this just to make sure that I was in the right spot. And then when you start, she's going to be in front of you, turning around. And our objective is to immediately turn left. And then we're going to strafe around the edge of this rectangular room. So I'm hugging the edge and just running. Just don't really worry about anything. Just mindlessly circle this warehouse. And try not to think about the fact that some demonic depiction of your dead wife is floating behind you trying to kill you. And boom! So you're going to have to hit her one more time here at the end to actually trigger the ending of the game. I like to do it with the steel pipe that we started with so long ago. And then there you go. GG. So the cutscene and the ending you'll receive here again will depend on your in-game actions, but the routing throughout the game should be the exact same, aside from those, ending specific actions. And hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions on the run or anything in this guide, feel free to leave a comment or message me in the Discord, the Team Hitless Discord. I'd be happy to help you with your run.
That
But yeah,
wasn't Mary.
hopefully you enjoyed and good luck.